Hello, my name is Rita with Community Resource Advocates, and yes, I'm back, still trying to save our trees. I never understood why our trees were treated so poorly. I didn't understand why I was treated so poorly as a homeowner trying to educate people. And through my research and 10 years of doing the fight back, I found out I've been going about this all wrong. There seems to be a gap between what we're expecting and what is transpiring. And I want to build the bridge to replace that, to fix that. So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about trees and what the state and cities are doing, and then we're going to move right into HOAs. So I hope you stay with me. It is important to visualize the damage the 2022 run-through has caused 1 year later. I decided to record the damage from 42nd Street west to 16th Street on the baseline corridor so our city and state officials will understand the difference between what their expectations were and what actually transpired from the contractor's run-through. I counted over 322 sisu trees. 149 of them are already dead. I expect another 100 to die before August of this year. That will be over half of the sisu trees dead in less than 1 year. Over 312 Palo Verde inner canopy completely removed, leaving the outer branches falling daily from the weight. I expect there'll be nothing left but the tufts at the top of the trunks to survive longer than just 2 years. 87 ironwood, all cut down into little twigs and at the tuft left. All the mesquites, large and small, have had the same damage. These young multi-trunked mesquites in Palo Verde have lost all the nature's given protection from the sun, and the contractors removed over half of the tree's food supply. They're not old enough to have much in reserves, so this will stunt the tree from the ability to grow. They can never become a tree. I counted well over 53 young mesquites and over 23 young Palo Verdes, all treated in this same fashion. Not wanting to pick on the city of Phoenix, this is ADOT. This is the 202 going north towards I-10. This is how much damage they've already done to all of those trees, all of those Palo Verde. I've kept 3 miles of this behavior. Not to be outdone, here is the city of Peoria's Park and Ride. Most of the inner canopy was removed on many, but some of them look like this too. But then I moved north from Peoria Park and Ride into Glendale, and you have the same type of behavior. This is a statewide issue, not a city problem. I'm sure you get the picture now. In each one of your packets, you got the Arizona Municipal Water Users Association and proper tree care. Nobody's following it. Nobody. And that's why we have this tree crisis, because we really need to explain to the people what the trees are here for. The inner canopy of a tree is their food supply. When you remove it, you're not maintaining it. The term maintenance means to protect, to conserve, to create a continuity. Removing the tree's inner canopy does the exact opposite. It damages the trees, takes their life support away. You all know that for the cities, but none of the homeowners know that. And none of the other people seem to know that because nobody's telling them no. Everybody's saying, sure, go ahead. And in my department is going to be the HOAs. So hang on, Cobblestone. You're up next. Clean up and raise the canopy is a term contractors use. They create a proposal and give it to the board members for approval to sign. But removing the inner canopy takes away the life support of a tree, and the trees immediately start to decline. I have yet to find an elm tree survive more than 3 years after the canopy was removed. So let's start with Hunter Ridge. In Hunter Ridge, I estimated 103 elm trees in the front and approximately 90 elms in the back. The ones in the front were done in 2022. The ones in the back done in 2023. We will see them in May to see how many of them survived. Even though Copperleaf has hundreds of elm trees, I just counted the ones along 22nd Place, and they have approximately 91 trees that run along that street. We'll take a look next year to see how many of those are left. This is a red push pistache. They have a potential of being an absolute beautiful tree, and they give the look of fall by having their colors change in their leaves. Those are all the rave of being planted, and you can see how beautiful they can be. But raising the canopy and cleaning them up seems to be all the rage. So let's see how many of them survive. Southern Enclave, 31 pistache raised and cleaned up. Navarro Groves also has 51 red push pistache. Let's see how many of those survive. Santiago, they have 116 red push pistache. Let's see how many of these survive. But the best way to see how the trees react to the way they're being treated is with this next video. Please disregard my voice. I can't shut off the sound. The ones on the left were the ones in the grove. Those were cleaned and raised over 2 years ago. The ones on the right were not done until this year. They started to do it. Highline Groves on the right, the groves on the left. Highline Groves on the right, the groves on the left. What do you notice difference? I'm going to let you know that the main thing is you see less cutting of the ones on the left. The right. But they did it all this year. They did all the cutting this year. So look at these. Or I should say last year. So we'll have to go through and redo the overcall. You see what they did to these? And this is done in 2023. In 2022, our ficus trees had their inner canopy removed, and now they look like this 1 year later. Enchiladas on Baseline Road had their large ficus tree contained and shaped versus having the inner canopy removed, and it looked like this after the 45 days of 119-degree weather, while ours looked like this. Enchiladas is a part of the Grand Resort, and they use these column ficus to create the ambiance of royalty as they travel towards the entrance into the resort. But in December of 2023, the manager chose to have the same improper care of removing the inner canopy of this same tree. They did not leave the column ficus out either that surrounded the entrance and raised those canopies also. In August, we'll document the condition of these trees, knowing that the evidence is what we need to prove. It is the behavior towards our trees, not the weather, that's killing them. This is the Pines community across from the Fry's Target Mall. When you see this many trees dead from one summer, it is obvious the board was convinced to raise and clean up those pine trees. From my personal experience, pine trees never survive longer than a year or two once the canopy has been raised and cleaned up. In this picture, you can tell by the cut it was done before the summer of 2023 because the wounds are still new. The pine trees on the community on 40th Street still looking good. So according to the research from the Arizona State Research Center, removing the inner canopy is proving that it does kill our trees. I was in Hermoso Park, and over there by Copper Ridge, I was watching these contractors cut branch after branch off these very large eucalyptus trees. It was apparent they did not need to cut as much as they did, and that they were just doing what they were told to do. But what happened afterwards is this. They're all dying. and constantly falling branches on the ground. Just like us here at Cobblestone, they removed the inner canopy, and now we're losing all of our trees. The bottom line, all of our trees are having their inner canopy removed, their life support. In the state of Arizona, one of the worst things you can do to a tree. Every school, every shopping center I go to, every HOA all has their inner canopy removed, and the trees are just all slowly dying. To curb this is why I gave you some suggestions at what we can do in our legislative branch and for the cities. Maybe we can do a little advertising on why we want our trees to be here. My department's HOAs. Cobblestone, sorry, I live here. So yeah, I want to educate all of you. The reason our board members cannot make better decisions is because we live in a democracy. They require 70% of us to tell them what we want. It's called a standard of estimated expectations. Without a standard of expectations, they have nothing to go by. I used to get really mad at our board, and I realized it's not their fault. It's all of us pushovers in the HOA that is not willing to do anything. We're just closing our doors and pulling down our shades. But it's us who has to make the standard of expectations. If we don't do that, the contractors can do anything they want. Anything that they can sell to the board, they can get away with, because there's no standard of expectations. That has to be a part of an HOA. We must get together and create that. We create the expectations of how we want our amenities treated. We create an expectation standard of how we want to be treated. Get rid of all that childish juvenile retaliation just because I want to give educational tools to our board is nonsense. So what I'm trying to say to all of you, when you see all of our trees dying this year and you're paying more for your HOA fees, you can also give me a call and let me help us create what you would call a standard of expectations for our community and get enough signatures to make it law for us, because it's our democracy. It doesn't belong to the contractors, it belongs to us. My name is Rita. I'm with Community Resource Advocates. In the package, you'll have exactly what I'll offer all HOAs, not just mine, in Cobblestone. And I hope somebody will take me up on it. Have a great day.